Well, good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Just wanted to jump on here real quick and give you a quick update. As you know, if you've been watching my videos or keeping up with anything, we are writing a commentary on the book of Amos, and we just finished up the last pages of that a few days ago. So we are excited about that, and it's about 155 pages is what we have as far as just the book. Sure, it'll end up being a little bit more than that by the time you add table of contents and copyright page and a few other pages, but anyway, excited, very excited. This is something that I have had a desire to do for a long time, to be able to write, but never thought it was something that I could do, and just through some different circumstances going on with my dad, his health, I kind of took over the project of writing his book as well, and quickly found out that was going to take much more research and effort on my part, and so that is still in the works, but that is a little bit that's quite a bit slower go than what we have going on here. We are working on some sermon outline books of my dad's as well. I have binders and binders and binders of sermon outlines that he made through the years, and so we are working on compiling that into some books. I don't know how many volumes that'll end up being. We're working on the first volume right now, and Lord willing, that will be available next year, early next year as well. But our commentary on the book of Amos is complete, and we're excited about that. The first edit is mostly done. I think my wife is my editor, and my proofreader. And so we have, I think, 2 chapters left to go, or she does, before she has the proofreading and editing done on that. And then we're going back through it for the second edit, and just started printing those pages out a few days ago, or actually yesterday, and starting on the second edit. And so now we have to work on, and of course this is a process that I am just learning as we are going through this. This is certainly not anything that I'm an expert in, and if you have written a book, then I'm probably saying things that you're screaming at your phone right now, or tablet, or whatever you're watching on this on, saying, no, that's wrong. But as far as I know right now, I've got to start working on, after the edit is done, we'll get our ISBN numbers, and then get the book copyrighted, and then move on to formatting. From everything I've seen, that I'm going to work on that in Adobe InDesign. I'm familiar with Adobe products. I've used Adobe Express to make pages, or make flyers for our church, and different things like that. That's what I use for all my thumbnails for YouTube, is Adobe Express, and I've actually created a cover, or at least the type of cover I want for both the outline book from my dad, and then also the commentary for the book of Amos. Lord willing, we'll have more commentaries coming out in the future, so I want that to be kind of I want there to be a theme as far as the covers of those books, and it'll maybe be a little bit different from Old Testament to New Testament, and then there are some other books to work on as well. But anyway, excited about this, and one of the next projects, I don't know if it's going to be the very next project that we're going to start on, but one of the next projects we're going to start on is putting the Old Testament in chronological order. So what I would like to do is have the chapters broken up by centuries, and then go through each century and break that down in decades, and then just talk about the things that happened in the Bible in those centuries and in those decades. Nothing thorough, nothing in depth, just hit the highlights, chronological order in this century. This happened in this order through these decades. And so excited about that. Just something simple, just a quick reference guide somebody can look at, and just to kind of get a general idea in their mind about the order of things, the chronological order of things in the Old Testament. So excited about that as well. Now, obviously, if you've watching this, you're liable to have been watching our channel for a while. You know that we've been doing a series on Israel, and that series is not done. But we're going to continue to look at Israel and continue in that series. But we did touch on a few things about Israel in the end of the book of Amos, and of course, the Bible has a lot to say about Israel with that as well. And I know I've already touched on this in another video, but I did want to kind of bring it back up, and especially since our book covers a lot of this in the ending chapters, or the ending chapter, I should say. So I'll just read you a couple of paragraphs from the book. Or in Amos chapter number 9, verse number 8, the Bible said, "Behold, the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord." Now, keep in mind, as Amos is writing this, that he is not talking to Judah, he is talking to Israel, those 10 northern tribes. And those 10 northern tribes, he said that he would destroy them, and we see that evident as you go through the book of Amos. The book of Amos says earlier in the book, it teaches us, I think it's in chapter number 5, that 90% of the people would be killed, and that the rest would go into that Assyrian captivity. And he certainly did destroy them, but he said he would not utterly destroy them. In other words, he is going to leave a remnant. There is still going to be a group of people left that God will deal with in the future events. And then verse number 9 of Amos chapter number 9, he said, "For lo, I command, and I will sift the house of Israel among the nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth." Now, that word sift literally means to move around. And the children of Israel were certainly moved around through the nations of the world. That has happened in large part after the death of Christ. Now, Israel did go into Assyrian captivity before the death of Christ. Of course, Judah went into Babylonian captivity. Judah came out. Israel did not. But as a people, as a whole, they have been sifted through the nations. Israel started their sifting in 722 BC. Judah started their sifting, or Judah joined them in that sifting in 70 AD after Jerusalem was destroyed, and the Romans scattered them throughout the whole world. But you think about this, and a lot of people think about the Jews, and just think about the Holocaust as far as the persecution of the Jews, but there has been much more persecution of the Jews down through history than just the Holocaust, and we've got some of this listed in our book as well. In 135, the Roman Emperor Hadrian began to control Rome, and I'm not reading verbatim from my book, just kind of giving you some thoughts from it, but he proclaimed an edict that Jews are not allowed to be back into the city, and if they did come back to the city, they would be tried and executed. In 1096 AD, the Jews are branded enemies as Christianity. 12,000 were killed along the Rhine River in Germany. In 1181, King Philip of France banished the Jews from their country, and of course, when they did that, they robbed them of their home and their possessions and their property. In 1189 AD, after the coronation of Richard the Lionhearted, many Jews were murdered and their possessions were seized by the crown. In 1348, Jews were blamed for the Black Plague, and many were killed because of that. In 1478, the Spanish Inquisition began, and in 1492, the same year Christopher Columbus discovered America. And of course, as the saying goes, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and somebody said, and they banished the Jews too, because 300,000 Jews in that same year were banished from Spain. In 1520 AD, the Jews were banished from Naples and Venice and many other cities in Italy. In 1794, Jewish men in Russia were forced to serve 25 years in the Russian military. In 1903, there again in Russia, the pogroms took place, and the pogroms were simply massacres, and many Jews were killed and their homes destroyed. And so finally, we can see that the Bible said that they would be sifted among the nations. That word sifted simply means to be moved around, and we see that happen. They went from Rome to Roman Empire to Germany to France to England to Spain to Italy to Russia. All through these countries, they have been sifted. All that happened in the supposed time that God was done with the nation of Israel, as a replacement theologist would like to say, and God was only dealing with the church. Those promises are now to the church if they are correct. But if that is correct, then why did Amos prophesy about this, and why can we look back in history and see this happen? But what else is amazing about that is when he said they would be sifted among the nations, he said, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. In other words, God knows who his people are, and he's not going to lose track of one of them. Somebody said, well, how in the world, the Jews have lost their identity. They've lost their nationality. Who can know who's from what tribe? Brother Samuel Freed made a great case that Jews keep great track and great records of where they're from, and according to what they say that they can, or according to what Brother Samuel says, that they can track their lineage and their heritage back to their tribe. That may be true. I don't know, and if that is, wonderful, but I'm not worried about that, because either way, if they can or if they can't, God knows, and he promised right here in Amos 9, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. God is not going to lose track of his chosen people. And there again in Amos chapter number 11, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. And I do believe that when he's talking about in that day, he is talking about the day of the Lord. Now keep in mind that the first day that phrase, the day of the Lord, is used is in the book of Isaiah chapter number 2, verse number 12. Isaiah, as far as we know, was the first one to use that terminology. So that was a fairly new term to the children of Israel, to the Jewish people, was the day of the Lord. And as you get into Amos chapter number 5, they were looking forward to the day of the Lord, because as you read down through Isaiah chapter number 2, Isaiah is talking about how the day of the Lord is going to come upon this earth and is going to punish the wicked. And so all the children of Israel were saying, yeah, God's going to punish those wicked people. And Amos said, no, you don't understand. He said, this is not good for you. This is bad for you. In chapter number 5, verse number 18, Amos said, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? In verse number 20, shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it at all? He's saying that this day of the Lord is going to be bad for you, or at least that's how it starts out. But then we see it gets better, because in chapter number 9, verse number 11, I believe there, he says, in that day, I believe there again, he's talking about the day of the Lord. He said, well, I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins. That doesn't sound like the church replacing Israel to me. And I will build it as in the days of old. You say, well, how in the world could the day of the Lord be bad and good? Well, the day of the Lord, I believe, is not a 24-hour period, but I believe the day of the Lord, now you could either apply this, as Peter was talking about 1,000 years with the Lord as a day, and a day as 1,000 years. I kind of think about it like this. We talk about, back in the old times when people use horses and buggies, and we use that term, we're no longer in the day of the horse and buggy. Now, we didn't just use the horse and buggy for a day, but that describes a period of time. And I believe this day of the Lord begins with the tribulation period and carries on right all the way through to the end of the millennial reign of Christ. So it starts out bad, but it ends up pretty good for the Jews, for the children of Israel. But there again, to go along with verse number 11, he said in that day he would raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. That verse number 12 says that they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. And verse number 13 of that verse as well said, behold, the day of the Lord, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, and him that soweth seed. The mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. Basically, what he's saying in that verse is there's coming a time when Israel is going to be so productive. They're going to produce so much that they won't even know what to do with it. It's going to be so fertile and so productive that, it's just going to be wonderful. Did you know that before World War I, actually, the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish people controlled the land. They controlled that land for 400 years. Britain took it over during World War I. And all through that time, all through those 400 years that the Ottoman Empire had the land, all that time that Britain had the land, they couldn't grow a thing. They couldn't grow a weed. Nothing would grow in that land. But I got these statistics the other day, and I put them in my book as well. before 1948, the average annual rainfall was less than 11 inches a year. Now it is over double that since 1948. And Israel, this land that at one time could not even grow a weed, is now a world leader in the production of fruits and vegetables. In 2005, the fruit and vegetable market of Israel was $6.26 billion and is expected to be $7.72 billion by 2023. Book of Amos in chapter number 9, verse number 13 told us that it would be that way. The book of Isaiah told us that it would be that way. Isaiah 27:6, he shall cause them that come out of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. Isaiah 35:1 says, the wilderness and the solitary places shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and bloom as the rose. That is what is happening today in the land of Israel. Man, that's amazing. That is wonderful. This Bible is 100% accurate. I'm telling you what, they are still God's chosen people, and God is not done with them yet. In Amos chapter number 9, verse number 15, and I will plant them upon their land. Tell me how the replacement theologists, how they explain this verse right here. The very last verse of the book of Amos, and I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith the Lord thy God. What are you going to do with that verse? So, I mean, if the church has replaced Israel, what are you going to do with that? No, the church has not replaced Israel. God is going to fulfill his promise to his people. Well, anyway, just wanted to get on here and give you a quick update on the book and kind of add that little bit about Amos there. I know we've already talked about it before, but I tell you what, I love the subject matter, and it is wonderful to talk about, and it is wonderful to read about in the Word of God, and I love to see what the Bible says about the children of Israel and how God is not done with them yet. Well, Lord willing, we'll have the book ready. I hope and pray to be able to have a copy of the book in my hand, a physical copy of the book in my hand by the first quarter, before the end of the first quarter of 2026. Along with a copy of Dad's outline books following shortly thereafter. And then, of course, we'll keep you updated in the next week or two as we get past this and we get started on the next book, exactly which book that will be. I'd like to really start and focus on the Old Testament prophets and go through them. But then also I really want to work on the Old Testament, the book on the chronology of the Old Testament, and then also on Dad's book on Israel as well. And so anyway, we'll keep you updated on that. Thank you for watching the video today. If you've gotten some help from it, I sure would appreciate you giving us a like, a share, and a subscribe. Really help us to get our message out, to grow our channel, to get the information out about our books as well. And I hope and pray that they're a blessing to you. It has helped me writing this book and studying this book of Amos. It has helped me tremendously in my understanding of the Bible and my appreciation of the Bible. And it just goes to show me how much more I have to learn. We are all students of the Word of God. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Making it this far in the video. And if you would like to help support the channel financially, help us grow, to be able to buy new equipment, to be able to buy better equipment, you can click on the Buy Me a Coffee link that's on our YouTube channel. You can make a one-time donation, buy us a coffee, or you can become a channel member on the Buy Me a Coffee app. We have 3 different levels to that subscription. On the highest level, you'll receive free books through our publication company, 1611 Publications. At the recording of this video, September 2025, we are looking at having our first book, maybe first 2 books, come out at the end of 25, beginning of 26. Lord willing, we plan on having 2 to 3 books a year come out after that. And so on the highest level of membership, you'll receive a free book once our books start coming out. And then as a continuing member, every time we have a new book come out, you will receive one of those books for free. We love you. God bless you. Hope you have a great day.